on time. I also want to respect Brenda's time because she has to leave a little early for a doctor's appointment. Don't apologize. You're wonderful for being here. Couple of things I want to introduce these folks for, not individually, but collectively. Across this panel, you have people who have been in the business almost 30 years.
We should add it up.
No, we shouldn't. What? No, one of you has been here at least 30, close to 30 years.
32. 6. Do the math. 17.
Anyway, a long time. Oh, by the way, you have to talk in the microphones if you're going to speak, please, so people can hear you. They have all built a very, very strong referral business, and that, I'm sorry,
30?
Me, 28. Okay, 109 years according to Chris. They have all built very strong referral business. They have lived across multiple markets, some of us 3 or 4 different kinds of markets. So we are feeling, or the news is telling us, that the market is shifting. Now, I want to say that this class may almost be a little premature because the stats I ran this morning said, yes, it is shifting. Hey, Scott, good morning.
Good morning, all.
Scott's in Las Vegas. He's a broker owner in Las Vegas. So, while we see various news that the market is shifting, I can tell you that statistically, our market is almost back to where it was in July. August had this kind of downtrend and it's coming back. Cheryl just commented she had her first showing within 5 minutes. So the first thing I'd like to ask all of the panelists, so I don't have to present anything else now, it's just you guys, go right down the line. Let's start with Dixie because she's going to, come back. Do you feel the market shifting right now? Are you having to run around and show buyers? Or to you, it's about the same as it was 2 months ago? Microphone, please.
I would say it's about the same, where I've got many buyers. We're just sitting, and when something hits, we run. So I've not been like on a showing expedition like we were doing.
So it's not as bad, but it is still there.
Yes.
Okay. Cheryl?
I think it depends on the price point, because I've got one listing, we got 11 offers in 2 days, and that was 100-ish. Just Friday, this weekend, we got 11 offers. But then I'm seeing other homes. I've probably got, 8 different clients waiting for homes to come on the market up to 300,000. So I think anything up to 300 is still going nuts. It's still super busy, but I am starting to see homes that are overpriced. They are being reduced. I'm seeing price reductions, and I haven't seen that in 2 years. So.
Just talking to the end.
So I am seeing the same. I could have shown Cheryl's listing 3 times this weekend.
Actually,
and I had 3 different people that wanted to see her house. We did write an offer. We were one of the ones offered, but and a separate house, I did show 2 other buyers to that too. So we are still having, I feel like, a lot more buyers than houses, but I have noticed a lot more houses with longer days on market. So before it was like, if it was on, it was off, but we are seeing kind of a split, I feel like.
I absolutely agree. I think it comes down to price. Used to be anything over 200, 2 years ago, anything over 200 sat longer. Anything under 180 was the sweet spot. Now it seems like anything under 300 is the sweet spot, but buyers are, in my opinion, as picky as they ever have been. They're not wanting, maybe in July, a property would come up that they said, well, it needs paint, and they would still be okay purchasing. Now it needs paint. Sorry, nope. We'll just keep looking. The carpet's a little worn. well, you know, you could change the carpet. Yeah, but I don't really want to go through all that. We'll just wait and see. And I think that buyers are getting pickier, but sellers have not gotten the memo yet that buyers are starting to get pickier. I think the good houses, it seems to me that there's like two levels of houses. There's the ones that are show ready and ready to go. How many people showed the house on Charles? Okay. My team, I have 5 people on my team. 4 members of my team showed that house.
Wow.
It is to die for, ready to go. It's been on the market for less than 12 hours. She's already got 9 offers. I have one in Terra Falls. It's a beautiful house. It's a large house. There is nothing remarkable about it, and it is sitting because there is nothing remarkable about it. They're priced about the same. It's the presentation.
So let me throw out some questions here. And Scott will laugh at this. This morning, we have 977 active listings in the MLS.
How many of those are new construction?
I took those out. 638. So the question would be, when I look at month supply inventory a month ago, you know, in July, we were sitting around 0.8, 0.9. Now we're at 1.0 month supply inventory. Our listings are down a tad, but they're not down a whole lot. So we hear these national news stories that the market is shifting, it's going to pod, it's becoming now a seller's market. And I'm looking at this and saying, man, this is the second greatest market I've ever seen in my life. On the other hand, buyers are seeing the same news stories like your listers are. So how do you guys handle coaching a buyer, coaching a seller that maybe we aren't going over price like we used to? You've got to have some sort of pre-meeting that says, I know you listed it at 220, but we're going to have to do a price reduction now. How do you guys handle those discussions? Go ahead, pick up and just jump in whenever you're ready.
So I actually just had this conversation with a listing the other day, and he said, the market is crashing and you should cut your commission and do me a solid. And I said, no, it's not crashing. And, you know, I kind of just had to walk him through it. Like, the house that you want, you're going to list your house, but the house you want to buy already has 3 offers. So you can't come in under when there's already offers. I mean, I just think he was listening to the media and, you know, not really getting that there's a slight shift, but not anything like crashing, or I don't think. I mean, we're still going.
I've had 2 buyers in the last week that have wanted to come in under. And like one was 215, they want to come in at 175.
Oh my God.
We did. But they're hearing the same information and they're thinking, okay, it's finally time that I can come in and get a deal. And so I'm just telling everyone, you know, there's not such thing as a national market, in my opinion. Each market's kind of individual, and us being in the center, we're never in the same boat as all these national reports that everyone gets. So they really can't listen to that. So I just let it speak for itself when they don't get the deal. And then they start going, maybe she knows what she's talking about. And then we have the conversation, and they usually are a little more receptive after 1 or 2.
Are you seeing a lot of people who say, well, this is what I see in the news, so it must be, or is it still kind of spotty?
I've only heard like people reference the news once, and that was a listing appointment last week. And they're moving to Dallas. And so, and they say it's supposedly bad there. What they've heard, you know, where they're getting information, I don't know, but so they're expecting it here because
Gotcha.
That's what they were told in Dallas.
Okay.
I feel like there's so many different ways that question can go. With the interest rates going up, that is affecting our buyers' qualifying purchase price naturally. And I mean, some of these rates have gone up 2 points, and that's significant in a house payment. And I think that creates a lot of fear on the sellers and the buyers. But one conversation to have with these people is, we've been borrowing money for years now, almost free. You know, money is not free. We have to pay for the money we borrow and get them, you know, authentic and realistic on what these interest rates are doing. Take away the fear. What was the question?
Well, no, let's stay on that track.
I had another point. There was something else.
I love where you're going with that. So having the discussion with money isn't free. Can you give us an example? Do you put personal stuff in there? Do you just kind of go through statistics? How do you explain that to people?
One way, I like to use the numbers. I like to let the market speak for itself. So when I'm working with the buyer, bringing them in and sitting them down in front of the computer and showing them what this was priced at, you know, 6 months ago versus what it's priced at now. Show them what there are expireds out there. Do you guys know that? There are homes that have expired. You know, when I'm working with sellers, it's like, guys, I'm amazed at how many homes did not sell. When you pull up a list of expireds, it's somewhat significant. It's very interesting. So that is one way I get the sellers realistic on price, to show them that you still have to be competitive. You've got to find the seller's fears in this market and address them. And you've got to find the buyer's fears in this market and address them. And I've been working with buyers that are bananas like everybody else that's willing to pay $20,000 over list price. But for some reason, you know, the interest rate scares them more than paying $20,000 over. It's like, you could show them that, you know, it's the same thing in one way. It's still all about the price. So just information, just bury them in information. Okay. But I am seeing a lot of buyers are still wanting to wait because they feel uncertain about what's going on. A lot of them are waiting.
Okay.
There were 2 articles this morning from Realtor.org. The first one is from a new report. Marcus and Millchap did a study and said the headline is "Single Family Homes Won't See a Big Price Drop." And basically, Marcus and Millchap is a research firm, and the Realtor organization paid them to do research to find out what will happen, what the projections are, how consumers are feeling about single family home prices across the nation. And what they did is they took different size markets, because I agree totally with Dixie. There is no such thing as a national real estate market. We are hyper local. And for our market, they did. Oh, that's right.
Sorry.
Another 3. This is another 3. Okay. 3 higher or lower than a 3?
Debbie, you need to mute yourself, please. Thank you. Okay.
Sorry. That scared the crap out of me. Took a few years off my life.
The interest rates don't scare Brenda, just the people talking.
Okay. But anyway, what the research company did is they took 3 markets, large markets like Los Angeles, California, New York, medium-sized markets like Detroit, Chicago, and then smaller markets like ours, and determined that what we're seeing in our market is that although our prices to us went up stupid, all we did was catch up with the lower end of the rest of the nation. We are not even at median price for the nation yet. We're still in the we're lower. Our housing prices are lower than almost everything else in the nation. The Midwest is still holding as the most affordable place to live. So our market is not going to see a huge drop because people are bringing their money from elsewhere and spending it here and seeing the value of it. So we're going to see a slowing of 15 offers, perhaps, but we're not going to see 5 months on the market. We're not going to see you're losing equity in your home, that kind of thing. And the other research that was done, the University of Pennsylvania did a study and says that the housing market is not in a recession. The media is telling us that we are headed for a recession because it's news. It brings in ratings, but we are not headed for a recession.
Those are the kind of articles, that's the information we need to be socially pushing, you know. We need to be sharing that with everybody.
If you subscribe to realtor.org, they're in your email this morning. I read them both. If you don't, they're on realtor.com. The conversation I'm having with sellers, because I'm working strongly on listings right now, conversation I'm having with sellers when they want to try it, because let's face it, it's a mixed bag out there. You can put a house on the market and tell them there is no way in hell you're getting that price. And you find somebody who will pay it. And so I stopped saying that. And what I tell them is, if you want to try it at that price, my data doesn't support it, but I'll give it a shot for 4 days. Average days on market right now in your area is 7. And I just had this conversation when I listed a property last Thursday. Told her your average days on market is 7. So we will wait for 7 days at your price. If it doesn't happen, I'll do my whole marketing plan. I did a stellar open house even over the weekend. We had 28 people through the open. Not an offer. I sent her an email last night that said, these are your stats. This is the feedback. This is the number of showings we've had. This is what we should have had. It is time to do what I said and reduce the price.
I love that strategy. And one strategy that I've used over the years is have that conversation with them, but build it into the listing agreement. You know, if in 4 days, you know, we do not have one offer, it automatically, and I use the word adjust versus reduce to a seller. It's less frightening and whatever, but so we will adjust the price by this amount on this day. And you can even do it in segments, you know, $5,000 bites. You know, if in 2 days we don't have a bite, then we go another 5,000 and build it in up front into the listing agreement.
So first off, I want to comment that I don't even have to ask a question now because you guys are going into my next topic. So thank you. But I did want, while you know, some interesting things were said there. I love the term adjustment versus reduction. I love building it into the listing agreement. And I do want to talk about that. But for some of the folks who've never been in a place where they've had to do reductions, this is different than 5 years ago. I mean, how many days would you have left a house on the market? And if the sky falls, where did you used to see normally where that reduction or adjustment would happen? 2 weeks, a week? Would you always keep it at 7 days? Discuss some of that.
I used to do 30 days. And my conversation with my sellers is exactly the same. It's just the days are different. You know, now I say, but I look at days on market, and days on market is adjusting a little, but in that 180 price range, we are still less than 3 days on market. And you know why? Because the listing agents are holding offers for 3 days and then presenting. It is not because the house isn't getting an offer for 3 days. Explaining that to a seller and telling them, yeah, we're 3 days on market, but really, if everyone in the industry were doing the job the way they're supposed to, it would be hours on market, hours. So if you're looking at wanting to price your home, what I see is absolutely crazy. 2 years ago, I could have sat here in front of you and told you I'm not going to take the listing. Yeah. Today, I'm going to tell you I'll give it a shot because there may be someone stupid enough to pay that. And it's not really a different conversation. It's the same conversation, just different numbers. And with buyers, it is, are you willing, and I just had this conversation with somebody right before we started talking. At what price are you okay losing it? If you want it, when you make an offer, you need to make an offer high enough that if you don't get it, you breathe a sigh of relief because you would not have paid $1 more. And you can put your head on the pillow tonight and say some other idiot overpaid for it. I didn't. And I feel good about that. And then we know it wasn't your house. And the question with buyers has often been, well, are there any other offers? My answer is always, it doesn't matter. Because if there aren't today, we have no idea what that seller is going to ask that agent to do. How many people have written an offer on a Wednesday and asked, when do you think you're going to present? And the answer is when we get another offer. 3 times.
The question Suzanne asked is, how's the appraisal? We'll get to that, I promise, because I have that down here. So each of you, I would like you to answer this question, but I'm going to start with Brenda because one, she has to leave early, and two, she's the most, no, I was going to say practiced. Brenda's listing presentation is one of those that you could hear it 5 times for 5 different houses, and you couldn't tell the difference between any of them. She has practiced her listing presentation that much, and yet she's had to adjust it. Now, a moment ago, you said you adjusted days and that's it. I imagine there were some other things you had to throw in. You have to talk about appraisals. You have to talk about how many hours you're going to be gone the first day because of how many. Are you seeing an adjustment in how you present from 2 months ago to now? Will it adjust again? How do you envision things coming right now?
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because I adjusted my presentation probably about 18 months ago. And now I don't think of it as being adjusted, but you're absolutely right. One of the things we talk about when I sit down with a seller, part of my presentation is everything that they can expect, everything that I am going to try and protect from going wrong to prove my value, and what I expect from them as things go wrong. And telling them, in this market, you're going to have people that don't leave a card, people that leave their light on. You're not going to get the feedback that you want, not because people don't want to leave it, but because they are showing so many homes. The feedback right now is no offer. If we get any other feedback, actual written answers, it's a phenomenal agent, and I'll try and get them to write an offer because I want to co-op with them because they actually sent feedback. But most of the time, our feedback is going to be, we didn't get an offer. So I don't want you to be upset when you're not seeing feedback. I will ask for it and I'll try and chase it down, but we may not get it as often as you would like. More than likely, what is going to happen, because right now there are buyers waiting like horses at the gate for properties to come on the market. You're going to see a huge influx of showings depending upon the price range. Could be 5, could be 7, could be 30, depending on the price range. And whatever the price range is what I tell them in the first day or 2. If we don't get some interest in that first couple of days, we have one of 2 options. We either wait for new buyers to come into the market, or we reduce the price to get a new level of buyer interested in your home. Those are our options. Your goals decide how we proceed. If you're not in a hurry, then maybe we can hang out for 7 days and wait and see if any new buyers come into the market. But the real evil, the real problem in this market is market stale. If your home is on the market longer than 7 days, buyers are not looking at it saying, oh, good, my house is still there. They're looking at it saying, what's wrong with it? Why did everybody else pass on this house? And you say it's only been a week, but in your market, days on market is 3, which means if you're on the market for 6 days, you're on the market twice as long as everybody else. And if you're on the market twice as long as everybody else, buyers see that as half as good.
Statistics can be amazing, can't they? Elena?
So I have a personal listing story for you guys. I have a listing right now if anybody wants to go show it. It's actually 112. It's really cute. But my seller's mother-in-law was in the house for the first week and she killed all the showings. She canceled every single one. So she wouldn't let anyone in for the first week. And I think that right. And my seller they're fine. They're ready to hang out, but it really did hurt us. I mean, after that first week, she was moving. So then she canceled all those showings. So we're going to do an open house this weekend, but yeah, I mean, it really does matter the first couple days or whatever. I mean, and the seller's fine. They're not upset, but I'm like, we kind of missed our window on that, and it's cute. But now people get irritated. You've canceled on them, you've moved them, they've moved on to the next house. So they don't want to reschedule. They're not, I mean, even if it's cute and it's a great first, they're not going to come back. So I think that is really important on that. And, as much as I can tell my seller, and I did have a conversation with the mother-in-law, but, it's like, by then it was almost too late.
You're not meaning that.
I know.
Well, I do have a suggestion for you. Everybody who canceled or was canceled, email them and tell them there's an open house this weekend and say, send your client out. I'll respect it.
And the mother-in-law moved out.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah. Cheryl?
With market shifting and talking to sellers about adjusting their price, that brought up a really good point. If we've got a house that is priced at $159, and so the seller, after 7 days of it being on the market, is finally ready to adjust the price, and they want to try $2,000 price adjustment, we have to be able to show the seller that buyers don't look in $2,000 price adjustments. They look in $5,000 increments, $10,000 increments, $25,000 increments, and the $159 price, you're probably looking at the next price adjustment needs to be $155. Now, another pricing strategy is that whole $159.9. I go back and forth on that because people pick the $159.9 price thinking, oh, it looks so much less than $160. But then you have buyers out there that are starting at $160,
right,
going to $180. So you're missing, 20% of your buyer pool for $100.
So I want to comment on Cheryl, because not only do I fully agree, I preached that for a long time. Price at the zeros or the fives, don't go in between. But having said that, in today's market, those people, it doesn't matter if they're $100 up. Well, I mean, we're spreading a lot further because we're desperately trying to find a house. But then you get into a regular market, you're right. You've got to stay on those fives and zeros. So that's something all of you newbies should take heed of and ask more questions about later if you need to. Dixie, your listing presentation, how have you changed, or how will you change your listing presentation should the market shift? You don't? Microphone.
I could say a few things, but pretty much these three have hit on. I mean, I'm sitting here shaking my head every time Brenda said something because it's pretty much the same things that I would do. I mean, and the 30 days was the main thing, is price changes. Back in the day was usually, I always address it in my listing agreement. It's, if this price doesn't work, because we usually meet in the middle, it's usually not my suggestion or theirs. We usually kind of come to terms and say, here's what I think, that's what you think, then let's decide what we want to do together. Because in the end, it's up to you. But then I say, okay, but then let's come back down to where I think it should be. If it doesn't sell on the 31st day, and then I write it in and they sign it. So I don't have to ask for a signature or a price reduction later. The hit's already been taken. But that's all the only thing else I could add.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bina. Another thing I just thought of too is doing, if it hasn't sold in 7 days, you need to be sending a new market analysis every 6 days to show the seller of what is going on. It is a super micro market. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to break your concentration.
No, it's show the seller every week what the market has done in that 1 week. And that helps provide a price adjustment. Then I go back and I show, and Lance is probably key on this, is I show them from this week to last week, we had 25 agents look at your home online. We had 200 humans look at your home online, and we did not get any showings from that. That's telling us something. So assisting them in understanding and reading the market. That makes sense?
It does. And I wanted Lance to comment on this because I know some of the work that he does on his listings. Lance, you do market research and market reports to your sellers pretty religiously. Do you do a new market analysis every time you do one of those? Have you shortened your market analysis time from what it was maybe 3 or 4 years ago?
I don't do particular market analysis each week. And then to answer your question, as far as CMAs and originally starting, I try to stay within 6 months. If I don't have good inventory to use as comparables, then I'll go back 12. But now we have to be careful with that because as the market begins, if it does begin shifting, going back 12 months doesn't make sense. What I provide, like to Cheryl's point, is I provide a weekly seller's report, and that is in my listing presentation. When I sit down with them, and that's one of the reasons why I landed this last Cardis listing, is because the seller is an engineer and likes numbers. And so every week I just go on every Monday morning, first thing I do is I go in and I look at how many showings did you have this past week? And I keep track of that each week. And then in showing time, you can do a report for zip codes and so forth to see how many showings have taken place in that zip code for a specific date. And then I'll pull up the number of active listings during that course of that week, and I provide them an average. So this listing I've got now, when he went on the market, he had 7 listings. At that time, there were 13 current listings in his area. That equaled out to 2.2 showings per listing, and he was at 7. Now, last week, there were only, and I was able to explain to him, now Labor Day holiday, it's a holiday. We're not going to see a lot of business. And this is a zip code of 67235. So it's out in West Wichita. There were only 15 showings in a week on 10 listings priced between 350 and 350 and 400,000. He had 1. That average came out to 1.5. So I was able to tell him, you weren't the only one that slowed down. I also tell him, here are new listings that come up on the market. And then I show them, and if you guys aren't doing this, to me, it's a great number to use, is the MLS agent hit count and MLS client hit count. Those really show how much activity, how many clicks your listing is getting from agents and their buyers. And the last thing I do is I provide realtor.com views. You log into as a realtor into your site, you can go into your listing and see how many views your listings have had on realtor.com. He loves it. And it's been, we were planning on making a price change, another one this week. But when I showed him the numbers that, hey, everybody slowed down last week because of Labor Day, he decided, let's hold off and wait. And this home is priced around 360, 370. So I'm above that $300,000 threshold. So that's all I do is a weekly market analysis. And it takes me 30 to 45 minutes to throw the numbers together. And then it's another touch point to show the seller, I'm working hard for you, especially if the house has been on the market longer than 3 or 4 days.
So let me comment on Lance, because he said several important things, and especially when the market's shifting. What Lance is doing is what we all used to do in some fashion. When the market changed and we got to where you throw a listing on and it's sold, you got 10 offers, you get kind of lazy and don't think about that. And yet, if who said there was expireds? Was it Cheryl? Or yeah, Cheryl said there were more expireds. If you've got to go back to a client and start showing them where their issues are, how many showings did they actually get? Did they beat the average or meet the average? Was their price too high based on, you know, the averages? You've used these facts from, you saw, if as many people saw your house as saw the two up the street that both sold, your price too high. You've got to have some data to back that up with. So good point, Lance. I like that. Cheryl?
Brenda said something that I wanted to take a little bit further. When a new when a new listing comes on the market, it's like taking this big old rock and throwing it on a still pond, you know, because the waves, it's just huge activity.
Oh, I like that picture.
And
thank you.
after 7 days, every buyer in the world has seen that house. So we either now have to wait for a new buyer trickle in one at a time to see it at this price, or we gotta follow the market and take this to the next price point. That is getting more aggressive and finding new buyers. I think that's part of pricing it so aggressively. I've been really challenging my seller clients to price it more aggressively, put it in the right price, let the market drive the price up versus starting up here and then everybody wondering, well, what's wrong with it and taking it back down.
You know, you're
real quick, I'm gonna jump on that. What I use when you're talking with client sellers is I tell them, do you want to chase the market or do you want the market chasing you? If you go in and price it too high, like my Auburn Hills listing, you're chasing the market and hoping that you chase down buyers that are willing to pay it. And if you go in at a reasonable price instead of in an inflated price because everybody else in the neighborhood sold their house for $20,000 more, then if you go in with a reasonable price, then the market's chasing you. The buyers are coming to you because you are priced right from the beginning. And those buyers don't want to compete because they've been burned on how many other offers they have written. They have been burned and they see that you come in extremely high. They don't want to go any higher because they already know you're too high. And so let's let the market decide, you know, what it's worth.
Ooh. Okay. The reports Greg does for us every month. I'm telling you right now, we have the best freaking broker in town. Having a nerd for a broker is a really good thing.
I think I've got a backhand compliment, a nerd for a broker.
Because I'm not, I don't do numbers, but my broker does. So I use the crap out of them. But using that report to show them every month the difference between, you know, 300 to 400,000. Between 200 to 300,000. So if you've got a seller that's kind of in between those prices, it's like, yeah, it might be $20,000 less to list it at this price, but look at how many more buyers are in that price range. We are going after the fully stocked pond of buyers, and then we're letting them bump us up to the price that you wanted to see. So use these reports. I carry one around with me in my appointment book to have these conversations with people.
I love the phrasing that you and Lance are both coming up with about, is the market chasing you or are you chasing the market? I love the way that you frame comments that sound much more positive than I would. Oh, we're going to cut the price, I promise. You know, you're a master of that. So yeah, Elena, go ahead.
I have to say something about Cheryl really quick. So I did show her Fern House. Did anybody else see the Fern House?
It was 112,000. So we knew it was going to be bananas.
It was a great price. I mean,
well, and the comps pulled it out. The comparables pulled it out as 105 tops. But by the time they were done staging, preparing, cleaning, I was like, oh man, we can get 120 for this all day, but we cannot start at 120. The neighborhood supports 40,000.
Yeah.
So we priced it at 112.5, which is a demanding price range.
It was great. I mean, like I said, I had 3 different buyers that wanted to see that house. And then, you know, the big garage on the back. I mean, it was a good price. And yeah, I'm not surprised that you had 10 offers. I'm really sad that mine was not one.
One was in spam. I had an offer in spam.
Oh my. Did you apologize?
I didn't apologize.
You were like,
okay, we don't have to talk about it right now, but I peed a little, guys, because I had, true story. We had a best and final at 5 o'clock on Sunday. I presented 10 offers. And then the next morning, literally Monday morning, I get a text from an agent saying, just wanting to know if you met with the sellers. I'm like, I don't even know who this is. Met with what sellers? Who are you? He said, well, I sent you an offer yesterday. And my name is blah, blah. And I went through I knew every single offer in and out. And it wasn't one of them. So as I'm looking at my phone, I go into my spam. His offer was in my spam. Now I peed because if it would have been, a higher cash offer, holy crap. But that buyer's agent failed to represent their buyer by not, okay, you don't have to pick up the phone and actually call me, fine. But you text with the confirmation. Oh, you were calling, texting. She was perfect.
Buyers, let's go.
We need to, yes, we are getting lazy, but man, when you're representing a buyer, you don't just do that crap. I mean, his buyer could have lost out on his dream home and it would not have been my fault. It would have been his fault. And I did tell him, it's like, dude, and it's some company I never heard of. It's like when you send an offer, you need to get a verification from the listing agent that they've received it. He goes, oh, thanks for the feedback. Well, thank God it was 10,000 less than what my seller clients accepted.
And it was an hour and a half.
It was
after
2
the
hours.
Deadline.
It was like almost 7 o'clock. I think it was 2 hours after the deadline of best and final. So I am way okay, but oh, wow. Did that scare me?
Okay. Now I have a question. Do you have comments? Go.
So when I send an offer, the minute we leave the house, I call that agent in my car and I say, we are going to be writing an offer. Is there anything that my buyer can do that is important to your seller that might help us out on this deal? And even if they say no, I say, okay, I'll be sending an offer here within an hour and I would like a confirmation. Then when I send it, I say, please confirm receipt of this email. Because if I don't get a receipt saying, hey, I got it, I'm going to call you again.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to beat you up until I know that you've got it.
That's one thing Dixie is good. She's a pain in the ass. I mean, that's
I am.
But it works for her client.
But I'll beat you up till I get my confirmation that I need because I want to know that my buyer's hat is in the ring.
Have you guys experienced agents saying, well, what's your feedback been?
Agents asking us?
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking.
Because we didn't take your offer?
No, it's just, I had an agent text me and say, well, what's your feedback been on your listing? And I'm thinking, well, what question are you really asking?
Was it an agent that showed the house?
Yeah. Well,
and submitted an offer?
No, get ready to.
And wondering what the feedback is?
Yeah, because it's been on the market more than 7 days. But I'm thinking, okay, I know what the feedback is, but I'm not sure I want to share it.
And
They're on a fishing expedition asking, seeing how much information you will share.
Which is none. You don't need to share it.
Right.
Well, and while we're on that question, I have another one that came up. I've got two more and then we'll open it up for questions. One of our agents got a call from an appraiser who wanted to know if there were multiple offers on the home. Yeah, I knew you'd comment on that.
Okay, that is actually something I bring up to an appraiser if I need to. And the fact that appraisers are asking that makes me very, very happy because an appraiser is going to do everything he can to make this deal work. Appraisers are not, they're not bad guys. They're not monkeys that live in a closet, just, making people's days bad. They try to get the job done. And I think the purpose of the appraiser asking that question is just reassurance that if he does support a higher price, he's not too insane or too far off. So if the house sells for 124, I'll tell him we had 5 other offers over 125, and that gives him peace of mind. And I'm all about peace of mind.
I had one appraiser ask me for the copies of the actual offers.
Absolutely.
Did you share them?
I did,
I'm curious.
Yes.
Redact, yeah, just redact some names, but share away.
Interesting. I have to ponder that one a little bit.
I had an appraiser request the offers to support my claim that we had multiple offers.
I think that's right. Because we're always telling the truth, right? Basically, what Instructor Lancers is saying is that any offer, once it leaves the buyer's hands, it goes to the seller's agent. It is now public information. It's not privileged private information. You know, the attorneys will tell us that once it leaves the buyer's hands or the buyer's agent's hands, it is now open information. It does not belong necessarily to that buyer anymore.
And
It
that's
is
from Vern
publishable.
Jarbo. I'm sorry, that's from Vern Jarbo in Topeka, who is the attorney that, you know, advises us. Show of hands, how many people would have just sent over everything the appraiser asked for?
I would have called you first.
How many people would not have sent it over? Okay. I struggle some. I understand exactly what Cheryl's saying. And I agree, we want the appraisers to feel good. And in fact, because our agent didn't share that, I think he punished them with a $15,000 different. And so it's hard to know where the line is to try to keep everything going sometime. But thank you for calling me, and Greg would go, I don't know. But,
You are what we call a low liability agent.
okay, my last question, and then I'll open it up for anybody else who has questions. According to NAR, 18% of contracts across the nation are being canceled. I know, I'm going to let you talk on that. And they are being canceled. Builders are the ones who are saying they're being canceled on new builds. So we're now in a recession because everybody's canceling out of these contracts. Two things off of that stat. Number one, do you guys have a lot of cancellation issues or not? And how do you counsel your clients, both the seller and the buyer? What happens in a cancellation, and what do you what's the reality versus what the law is?
So we're talking about canceling contracts, not offers. Correct?
We have gotten an offer in. You've accepted our offer. 2 weeks later, I just changed my mind.
I think that just totally falls under the buyer's remorse. And when you make impulsive decisions with a person that's feeling the pressure and momentum of multiple offers, and of course there are going to be regrets, you know, there just are. And especially when the buyer is in that moment and he pulls the trigger, and then he has time to stop and think about, whoa, crap, what did I do? And a lot of times it's like they can take their time and think about it, but they could lose the property, right? I mean, one thing is, it's like, I need to go home and think about it. It's like, well, you can go home and think about it and lose the house, or you can sleep on it or sleep in it. What are you going to choose?
And I will say there are some agents out there that may not have the ethics and morals that we do, that push their buyers into buying the things they shouldn't.
I think buyer's remorse is a skill that you learn. You can see the signals. By the time my buyer is ready to make an offer, they're strangling me because they're ready to go. So
I just had a offer cancel, and we were going, it was for a lot for $1 million build, and we spent 3 weeks getting the plans figured out, and they canceled because they're not ready to build. They were going to buy this lot, wait 6 months, and then have the builder start building because they're not going to be ready. So they canceled the lot because they're afraid that by the time they're ready and the house is built, they're locked into the $1 million. Their house isn't going to be worth $1 million. So, I mean, they're still going to do it. They're just going to not buy the lot. Buy the lot and you have so long before you have to start. So they're just going to wait till it's closer to when they're ready to get started. They were, like you said, a little bit buyer shy about, if I go through with this $1 million, is my house only going to be 750 by the time it's done? And I paid $1 million because I'm locked in.
And that's
So,
fair. It's fair to be afraid.
yeah. I mean, it also could go the other way with we don't know what the building materials and stuff. So it could actually be $1.5 million, which they're willing to take that chance too. So,
A lot of uncertainty.
so I mean, that was kind of my cancellation on the new build. So
I've had this type of question come up quite a few times, and I'm just advising people, you may not get this price for your house 6 months from now or a year from now. I think we're at kind of where we're going to maxing out here. So if you want, it's kind of what's more important to you. If you're waiting to buy, waiting to build, maybe you sell now, go rent something, move in with mom and dad, something like that. So, you know, you're still getting top dollar, but maybe not paying top dollar later. But that's the only way I can ever say, if you want to be guaranteed you're in this market, you need to sell in this market. You can't wait and then expect these things 6 months or a year from now.
And Lance wrote on the board real big, earnest money matters. Did you want to comment on that?
Especially, and this is for pre-existing, not so much new builds. If you've got a property that is getting multiple offers and a lot of activity in it, terms of an offer matters. It's not always about price. And I always have that conversation with my sellers and my buyers. Sandra and I have been working with buyers that we've had to educate them that it's not always about price. It's about what you put in your offer. And a part of that is earnest money. So when Greg talks about cancellations and people having buyer's remorse, there are reasons why we have contingencies in our purchase contract. And then there are reasons why we have earnest money. If you've got a $200,000 house and you have an agent that's just saying, oh, earnest money doesn't matter, because I've heard that earnest money doesn't matter anymore. Yeah, it does. Because if you're only giving me $500 earnest money and I have an exact duplicate offer that is $2,000, which one do you think my sellers are going to go with? So you want to put irons in the fire. You want, skin in the game. You need to increase your earnest money. So I don't want to say arguments, but I've had debates with agents saying, well, we're not putting that much earnest money. Well, then you don't really want to buy the house. So just remember to protect your sellers, make sure that earnest money is at least 10%. I mean, if it's a $200,000 house, it should be $2,000. If it's a $400,000 house, I usually go with $4,000. So, make sure the sellers or the buyers are getting skin in the game. You do the same thing with your buyers. You have to have that conversation with them too.
Does anybody have anything they'd like to add or to ask this fine panel up here?
Y'all are being quiet, except for Lynn.
Totally normal. Okay, so you guys hit on a couple of MLS agent hit counts and things like that. And I know you can find them in the MLS, but I don't remember where. Oh, he's going to show us on Tuesday, but I have a listing appointment tomorrow.
Another thing about that, on HomeSnap and Google, they also have the same number. I don't know if they're the same numbers.
What do you mean?
They have numbers too on HomeSnap.
Oh, HomeSnap. Okay.
And Google. You can go in there and it'll tell you, like, I'll get a report, I think once a week. I think it's a week, but it'll tell me anything I've got going on, and it'll tell me all my stats. And then you can go into your dashboard and then you can pull up reports. You can share those reports with your sellers. It's pretty, HomeSnap's a pretty good deal. And one more thing I was going to say that I forgot. When we were talking about the market, is it crashing? Cheryl said we need to be sharing this information, that we're not the same. Security First Agent is the best, awesome place, cheapest place you can get your information and the easiest way to share. And I have been pushing that stuff out.
How do you get information from Security First?
It's called Security First Agent.
It's an app that and we had a class on it.
So
and
those brochures and stuff that's in there, you push it out to Facebook.
Yeah, and you just hit share and it does it.
It's great.
It's, yes.
And
Yeah.
it's free.
Well, and if you do the Pro Plus, what's a $9.99 a year?
Something like that. Yeah.
And that's where you can get all the graphics and stuff and put your own information in. I hit one button and it's already got my picture, my phone number, everything all down here. It looks like I'm a professional.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you haven't seen that, I do have a link on that inside our dashboard, and we've had 2 classes on it, I believe now. And I can find the recording if you want it. Great app. Just got here in August. Thank you, Elena, for telling me it rolled out when it did. It was so nice.
I have
Okay.
a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Do any of you, regardless of whether you're panel or not, does anybody have a calendar of social media marketing that they use? Like a monthly, like you've got it organized to where I'm going to do this on this day. I'm going to do this on this week.
The greenhouse has that set up where you can schedule things for your business page. You can't schedule for your personal page because Facebook won't allow it. You can, the Agent One also every month, they run out a new marketing campaign. That's the Security First one. Agent, that's right. Again, the link is in the greenhouse or in our Better KS. I can show you.
Well, also, I think if you need ideas, was it Tracy or Devin that just sent out for the month? Like, this is National Hot Dog Month.
Tracy does that at the beginning of every month.
I did that for about 3 years. I did it every day. I did something on Facebook with the national, whatever.
I have to tell you guys, there's a girl that's on my CIC, and she just started 2 years ago, but I've been watching her grow. I don't even know what company she's with, but she started doing videos, and her and I we've become friends through the CIC, but and she started picking videos like the most random things. It's like National Bullfrog Jump Day, and she's out there jumping like a kid. And I mean, but it's good to see her do it. And she's in the open houses doing the videos for that. And I mean, she's on that social media, and she's grown because of it. I mean,
how old is she?
She's probably my age. Like, yeah, I mean, she just started like 2 years ago.
But she's not
But-
like 20.
Right.
No, yeah. And she would be like the last person that I would, she's just like me, like, I'm not going to do a video on there. But, and she was so shy, like when she started, like I wouldn't see her on a video, but now she does them. Like, she'll be in her car, like, hey, you know, and it's just cool to see, like, when you do it, you get comfortable, I guess. I don't,
She's probably got a good coach. I mean,
maybe,
that's it.
but yeah, I mean, so there's lists out there like National Bullfrog Day or National Cookie Day or whatever. I mean, there's all kinds of, and every day is something. M&M.
It's funny, 2 things on that. Devin is really good at Instagram, and she likes that a whole lot better than Facebook, but she does Facebook because I make her. But I saw a post yesterday from Nikki Good. I don't know if any of you know her. She's an agent here in town. And she said, I posted the same video on Facebook and hardly anybody looked at it. I posted the video, and it's a story thing, on Instagram, and 2,600 people looked at it. And she's going, what do I got to do to engage Facebook? So there's 2 points I'm making on Elena is the videos do get watched. And on Instagram, they get watched more. But you have to pick the medium that you're going to use to get that in front of people. You probably saw her on Facebook, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but you can also do it on more than one, the same video. So
Post something. I've got it to where on my Facebook,
Dixie.
anything I post. I have my Facebook set to where when I post anything, it automatically also posts to Instagram. So I don't have to go back and forth.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, Suzanne's got a question. Can we get a microphone back?
About the appraiser. When they call me and, want their date and everything, I tell them that I have a packet form if they would like it. And in that packet, I put all my comps and a list of everything that was done to the house and anything else I see might be relevant that he would like to see. And I asked him if he would like to have one. And he says, oh yeah, that could be helpful. And I think it really sold one of my houses because it was much higher than everything else in the neighborhood. So
Oh,
That's
good
what I
comment.
call representing your seller.
Yeah, very good. Okay, then I am going to say, let's give a round of applause to our panel. Thank you, guys. Appreciate everything. I'm going to stop the recording. I can figure out how to get my mouse working again. Any last